So everybody knows that the hottest narrative of the upcoming bull run seems to be AI, but I have discussed a few times how I'm a little bit skeptical of the AI market as a whole. And so for this reason, I have been looking into some other up and coming narratives. And this is one that I think has some incredible real life use cases with the potential of being huge in the bull market. So I actually think that this narrative kind of goes hand in hand with AI. When I was looking into it, a lot of people kind of put them together, but we're going to take a look into it anyway. So we're going to be talking about DePIN today. Now, you may know a lot more about it. You probably know more about it than what I do, but I've really enjoyed looking into and learning kind of all about how it works. So I'm going to share what DePIN is and why I have faith in this for the upcoming bull market. So let's jump into the technicalities of it. So many centralized digital platforms, and the best example that I could try and find to explain this is services like Uber. So they rely on the community participation to create a network of resources and services for millions of users. So for instance, Uber drivers, they contribute their vehicle and their driving services, and they get paid for this, whilst the platform, which is obviously Uber, connects these services to the user base. So in these centralized systems, providers are enticed to participate with monetary rewards or perks, while the platform maintains control over their resources as long as they are active. So providers and users typically undergo the defined processes to join in the platform. However, on the other hand, we have blockchain-based projects who are innovating upon this model. So these projects are known as DePIN, so this is obviously the decentralized physical infrastructure. So they are promising a better approach for providers to engage in the service provision. They are offering more flexible and potentially higher rewards for it. So these initiatives have the potential to disrupt the service-based sector in the future. So DePIN is pretty much a decentralized version of this, and it's a system where a group of crowdsourced providers are offering real-world services to the users. So these services are then recorded and rewarded using a public ledger, which is obviously typically a blockchain. So in DePINs, the blockchain serves multiple purposes. So it acts as an administrative tool, allowing anybody with sufficient resources to provide services. It also facilitates remittance, with users paying for services and providers receiving rewards in cryptocurrencies. And it serves as a record-keeping facility, which is storing all the details of all the transactions publicly. So they are highly adaptable and find applications across various sectors, from crowdsourced geographic services to complex infrastructural marketplaces which are entirely operated on the blockchain. Now, there are two main categories of DePINs. So these are physical resource networks, which are PRNs, and digital resource networks, which are DRNs. So the PRNs are decentralized networks focused on physical resource tied to specific locations, such as connectivity, mobility, and energy sectors, and providers contribute hardware resources for localized services which are non-fungible and often fixed to particular locations. Now, on the other hand, the DRNs, they consist of providers who are offering fungible digital resources. So this is things like computing power, bandwidth, or storage, which are not tied to specific locations. So it really does represent a groundbreaking integration of blockchain technology with real-world applications, and it's bridging the gap between digital networks and physical infrastructure in unprecedented ways. So we're going to quickly talk about this flywheel that DePIN has created. So they are aiming to foster a more efficient physical infrastructure by incentivizing providers to contribute their resources to a decentralized network. So providers are motivated by the opportunity to earn rewards, prompting many of them to contribute previously dormant facilities to the networks. And the DePIN then makes these resources available to users, generating revenue through the user fees. So why are users then drawn to the network? So users are drawn by the prospect of lower service charges compared to traditional corporate-owned facilities. And as the network expands, the value of its native token then increases, which results in greater rewards for providers and heightened interest from investors. So this kind of positive feedback loop then propels the growth of DePIN network, and it creates a self-reinforcing cycle of expansion. Now, you know that I do love a good pro and cons list. So of course we have one for this also. It's slightly different because there's quite a lot to talk about with them. So we have quite a big slide on positives and quite a big one on negatives, but that's okay. So some of the positives of it are the horizontal scalability. So this enables the flexible growth by increasing overall network resources rather than just individual resource capacity. And the flexibility allows facilities to easily scale up or down based just on demand, with the blockchain managing the resource availability and allocation of it. Now, another good thing about it is the pricing model. So this differs completely from traditional facilities, and it's considering factors such as providers' operational costs and network-related expenses. So with the minimal platform costs, the pricing is expected to be fair and transparent, and it's supposed to avoid inflated prices, which you see quite often in centralised institutions. Now, another good one kind of like related to money is the operating costs for DePINs are low. So as the network incurs minimal expenses, whilst offering obviously the flexibility for providers to participate over multiple networks, the users then benefit from the cost-efficient services, which reflects in DePIN's commitment to delivering high-quality services at very competitive rates. And it also operates on a permissionless basis, so this allows anybody to contribute resources or access services without negotiation or screening. So the accessibility actually extends to both providers and users, and it fosters a much more inclusive ecosystem. So incentivization is one of the key mechanisms for DePIN, so offering income opportunities for providers through passive or active participation. So projects like NewNet leverage AI-powered marketplaces to reduce dormant computer resources, which enables providers to earn income from previously idle facilities. Now, as with anything, there is some challenges which obviously can be faced by this narrative as well. We can't just expect everything to be all smelling of roses all the time. So here's my list of cons for DePIN. So the growth of it hinges on network progress, so influencing token value and entice investors and providers to participate. So currently it is in very early stages as a narrative as a whole, and there's only really a small percentage of blockchain enthusiasts and facility owners who are engaged with them. So encouraging broader adoption presents obviously a challenge in attracting enough providers and users to sustain the network and the growth to see this be successful. And there's also the complexity in understanding the concept as a whole. So this might deter participants, especially those who are less familiar with more technical aspects. So efforts to educate individuals across various levels, I think, would be really important for it to be successful. And also, operating private facilities can pose significant financial challenges. So as providers can struggle to cover the ongoing costs without any kind of external financial support of it. So ensuring the profitability is absolutely vital for them to attract providers, and it requires rewards to exceed operational costs whilst also maintaining profitability. So it is really quite a balancing act, I suppose, like it is with anything, but maybe with it being a newer kind of concept, it might struggle a little bit more. But there is a chance that they can face difficulties offering more attractive rewards due to the low user and provider density. But as it's early stages, I think as it progresses, as more people kind of learn about it and educate themselves about it, it may increase, which would obviously reduce a significant amount of these kind of challenges that it faces just now. So I absolutely love looking into the more kind of technological side of these different projects, and DePIN really does represent a potential shift in the landscape of commercial level facilities, software and hardware. So the current centralized systems hugely favour corporations, and it gives them control over the crucial routine operations of these services. DePINs have the potential to flip this dynamic by empowering a distributed network of providers and users representing an industrial class DAO. So early DePIN prototypes have demonstrated this transformative potential, particularly through the seamless remittance of rewards in cryptocurrency, which aligns well with the sleeker payment systems that cryptocurrency can offer. However, it is essential to acknowledge that while DePINs show promise, there are potential drawbacks, some of which we probably don't even know yet because it is in such early stages. And I also think that understanding how these protocols interact with you, either as a user or a provider, is essential. So overall, I think it has the potential to be a winning narrative for sure, but I think like with anything in cryptocurrency, only time can really tell how it's going to play out. But if you had to choose one DePIN project to invest in, which one would it be? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you next time.